The cabin door swung open in the Montana dawn, and Luke Harlan stepped out, believing escape was just a heartbeat away. But there, in the misty yard, stood Victor Kane, his Remington revolver catching the first light. "Morning, Luke Harlan," he drawled, as two more trackers melted from the shadows. All night, Luke's hand had lingered near his pistol, the same hand that had caressed Abigail Abby Reynolds' skin mere hours before, the hand that had finally chosen to stand firm instead of flee. Through the window, Abby gripped her late husband's Henry rifle, her 52 years etched in the silver streaks through her chestnut hair. She'd convinced herself she was past the age for romance, too weathered for the fire that could make a man face bullets over betrayal. Yet here they were, 3 lives entangled in a storm of longing and retribution. The bounty hunter who'd traded his share of star for gold, the drifter who'd left his partner to swing, the widow who'd risked everything for one stolen night. What cost would they bear for that blaze of forbidden heat? Winter clamped down on Pine Ridge like a vice, the small Montana town buried under drifts of snow. Abby Reynolds chopped firewood in the dying light, her breaths fogging the crisp air. 8 years Henry had been gone, buried after a logging accident that left her with routines as predictable as the seasons. Chores at first light, sewing by kerosene lamp, prayers that echoed hollow in the empty cabin. She glanced at his faded photo on the shelf, then looked away. Some memories weighed too heavy after sunset. The Henry rifle hung over the fireplace, its barrel dulled by dust. Henry's gun, Henry's ways, Henry's widow, even from the grave. The irony stung her. Fresh boot prints in the snow snagged her attention, leading right to her porch. Darkness had settled when the stranger showed up. Abby heard the ragged footsteps first, then the heavy slump against her door. She froze, gripping the fire poker. Proper folks didn't open up after dark, especially not alone. The knock came again, fainter. She hesitated, then turned the knob. Luke Harlan tumbled in, maybe 28, with the rugged good looks of a man, shaped by rough trails and tougher decisions. Blood soaked his jeans from a thigh wound, snow clumping in his sandy hair. His blue eyes held quiet thanks, no begging. "Ma'am," he rasped, voice like gravel and bourbon. "Just need a spot out of the cold for the night." "No trouble." Abby's eyes flicked to the peacemaker on his belt, then back to his face. Outlaw, no doubt, but something in those eyes held her back from bolting the door. "One night," she said firmly. "Leave the iron outside, and don't feed me lies. I can spot him a mile off." He nodded, unbuckled a holster, and set it on the rail. "Men are after me, but I don't draw first, and I don't hurt folks who don't deserve it." Partial truth, maybe, but it sufficed. She guided him to the armchair by the hearth, grabbed her mending kit and linens. The slug had skimmed his leg deep enough to bleed bad, shallow enough to mend right. "This'll sting," she warned, threading the needle. "Already does." Her hands didn't shake as she cleaned and stitched, steadier than they'd been in ages. When had she last tended anyone? Luke bit back the pain without a fuss. She admired that a man. "You'll bunk on the couch," she said, finishing up. "My room stays shut. We don't breathe a word of this." But as she readied for bed, Abby left her door ajar just enough to catch any stirrings, enough to glimpse the fire's glow on his sharp jaw as he slept, enough to ponder what it felt like to matter again. Morning broke still and cold. Abby stirred to the thud of an axe outside. Through the frosted pane, she saw Luke in the yard, wearing Henry's old flannel jacket sleeves, riding up his arms. His bad leg held, and each chop scattered with chips. She couldn't help watching the play of muscle under his shirt, the sure swing of his body. She stepped out with steaming coffee. He straightened, wiping his brow in the chill. "Didn't want to freeload," he said, taking the mug. "Reckon I owe you for patching me." "You owe nothing." Their fingers grazed, neither jerked away. "Tell me about her, your ma," Abby prompted. Luke's features softened. Sarah Harlan ran a one-room school in a speck of a Kansas town. She'd quote Shakespeare while gutting fish and make a pot of stew feed the whole neighborhood. He sipped. Lost her at 17 to pneumonia. She'd have said you got steady eyes, the kind that see through folks. Warmth flushed Abby's cheeks. I should head to town for goods. But at Clara Benson's mercantile, tongues wagged like wildfire. Clara's keen gaze tallied every purchase. Extra bandages, more beans, a tin of molasses. Stocking up heavy for one, she noted. Winter bites hard, Abby replied coolly. In the shadows, a stranger eyed her tall, scarred, with a predator's poise. Their stares locked. He tipped his hat, but it chilled her bones. She rushed home to find Luke fixing the sagging barn door, sleeves rolled, arms etched with faded scars. Her horses earlier, he said, not looking up. Keep that Henry handy. Hunters, or just my imagination. He tested the repair, pleased. They stood close now. Either way, I got a ride on soon. Your leg's mending fine thanks to you staying put. But danger loomed, and Abby's heart twisted. What if I'm not ready for you two? His eyes darkened. I'm Abby. I'm no safe bet. Just Abby. And I'll decide that. The air thickened. She showed him her herbal brew for healing. He taught her to oil the rifle. Talks wandered from novels she devoured to trails he'd ridden, skirting raw edges. As dusk fell, he pushed for shooting practice at the fence line, just in case. But it was pretext their bodies close, his hands steadying hers on the stock, breath warm on her neck. The gun exploded on her fourth shot. Hit it. Abby laughed, joy bubbling free after years. You're quick, Luke said, eyes on her glowing face, not the target. Time stretched. His thumb brushed her cheek. Abby, she leaned in. I should fear you. You should, but she didn't. Only thing scaring me is how you wake me up inside. His restraint broke. Their kiss started soft, then fierce. She clutched his shirt, tasting promise and risk. The rifle dropped in the snow. Inside, he growled. She nodded, slipping her wedding band into her pocket-cold metal. But her blood ran hot. That night, the cabin crackled with tension. Abby cooked with unsteady hands, every brush electric. Post-supper, by the fire, shadows wove intimacy. Something real, she urged. Luke stared at flames. Shot a gambler in Billings named Dawson, fleecing miners. He drew first. His jaw set. But worse, had a trail buddy, Sam Whitaker. We hit a freight wagon near Bozeman for greed, but folks were starving, governor hoarding supplies. Voice dropped. Posse came. I bolted, left Sam hanging literally in the square. Abby took his hand. You're no coward now. How'd you figure? You're here, risking for me. Fire gilded her hair. You're beautiful, he breathed. I'm past my prime. Most alive woman I've known. This kiss ignited. Her hands stripped his shirt. He carried her to bed, moonlight bathing her as clothes fell. His lips traced her neck, waist, breasts reverent, drawing gasps. Please, she whispered. He entered slow, their rhythm desperate yet tender. Hoofbeats shattered itch riders closing fast. Luke sprang up, dressing. Through the window, 3 men, leader the store's stranger, now badged. Hi. Abby shoved him to the root cellar. She smoothed her dress, answered the pounding. Evening, Mrs. Reynolds. Victor Kane pushed in, eyes raking the room 2 mugs, rifle now ready. Chasing a bad one. See no one. Victor's smile chilled. Lies stink like cheap whiskey. Her hand neared the gun. Leave. Tell me where. Below, Luke tensed. Abby stood firm. Victor slammed his knife into the frame near her head. Law catches up. He left. Abby's knees buckled. She hauled Luke out. They collided in passion corset unlaced, skin on skin by the fire. 8 years dissolved in ecstasy, bodies entwined, cries echoing. They slept spent. Dawn brought dread. Luke dressed. Abby packed food, tucking her ring away. I gotta go. Come with, he pleaded. West, Oregon fresh start. She saw her reflection. Lines, softness of age. Too old for trails. Not for life. He kissed her farewell tasting. Door open, Victor in the yard, gun drawn. Luke Harlan. Flankers appeared. Abby grabbed the Henry. Let him be. Victor sneered. Harboring's a crime. Luke shielded her. She's clean. She's in deep. Offer. Surrender for trial and noose. Luke's eyes met Abby's slow of sorrow. No running. Hand dropped. Guns blazed. Victor fired first, bullet slamming Luke's chest. He fell, blood staining snow. No. Abby ran to him, cradling. I stayed, he whispered, hand slipping limp. Victor approached. Could haul you in. But pity flickered. See only a widow here. He closed Luke's eyes. Buried deep coyote's prowl. Abby watched them ride off. She interred him by the fence, marking with a blue scarf on a pine. In Pine Ridge, Clara probed, but Abby stonewalled. Changes came. Rifle loaded, garden blooming with daisies, trips to Billings for treats. No ring. Spring thawed late. Abby on her porch heard birdsong, saw the faded scarf. Luke's memory lingered, his touch, voice, choice. Love's brief as is burned eternal. She lived 25 more years, unwed but whole, proving it's never too late for fire. What do you think? Should Abby have turned Luke in, or was her risk worth it? Share your stance in the comments, and let's debate.